work's more important than romance. So once we get married, I expect Maneka to work with me in our office, but not at the same level. Her role is more at the house, making sure that I have everything that I need in order for me to be functioning at a very high level.
As a boss, Mayur is very demanding, and I wonder what that means for our future.
All right, we're back with therapist deAyala, Shannon Lewis, and Pastor Ben Young talking relationships. That was a look at the reality show Arranged. So this is an arranged marriage, and he stated this is what I expect her to do. She's going to play that traditional role of basically taking care of me and our household. And so some people can look at that and go, oh my gosh, no way. But really, if that's what she agrees to and is happy with, and he agrees to and is happy with, none of our business.
I think, it really does come to what your personal value systems are and what you expect in your relationship. There's not one thing that works for everybody. And there was a study that came out not too long ago, and I need to find it to really read through everything. But my understanding was that relationships tend to do a little bit better when people take on some gender roles, even in gay relationships, which I found was interesting. But I do think it puts a lot of pressure when two people work full time and, they're trying to divide up everything 100%. And there are some things that maybe men are, a little bit better at. I couldn't unscrew the lid from a jar the other day, and I'm like, I thought I was an independent woman, and so I had to call Sean in to do it for me, But, there's just some things that, and that can be okay.
Yeah. And the whole thing of the range is interesting because I didn't understand it. I think a lot of us, that's just not where we come from. But a friend of mine finally said, look, Deborah, it was a business relationship. My parents knew that he was a good man. His parents knew that I was a good woman, character, all that type of stuff. Right. And so she goes, at first, yeah, it was awkward because it was kind of like, okay, so, hey, and she goes, and it took a while. She goes, but we went into it with the mindset that this is a business, and if you don't get along with your business partner, in order for that business to thrive, you still have to work it out. And she goes, I learned to love him years later. And she goes, so, I don't know, it's kind of interesting. Ben, your face is...
I think it's interesting. Modern dating, as we know it, is really based upon the proliferation of the automobile in the 1950s.
Yeah, that's right.
So really, before that, before people had that independence, you would court with the person you're going out with, even in the U.S. and Western cultures. But now, since the advent of the car and people have more mobility, you have all the issues, right? You have all the issues related to what we know as modern dating. So people have been doing arranged marriages for centuries.
Yeah, you see it in the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, sometimes it works, but it was interesting to point that she says failure was not an option for our business. When she kind of looked at the marriage as a business, failure was not an option. So she says there was never a thought that we were going to get divorced, even when we hated each other at one point.
In an arranged marriage, I imagine love is a decision, not an emotion. And so in romantic dating, as we know it, it's primarily about emotions and do we have a connection, do we have chemistry?
Yeah.
By the way,
and also playing out your own fantasy.
All right. I think those things are important, but there's much more to love than having simply a connection or a romantic attraction to someone.
Right. And I think to follow up on that point, I think that's where a lot of modern day relationships fail, because that feeling of falling in love is by definition temporary. And so eventually then love becomes a verb, and it's a choice that you have to make on a daily basis. And I think probably people who enter into an arranged marriage are aware of that from day one.
Yeah, because they know they can go back to the other part, but still stay together. All right, we have Cheryl on the line. Good morning, Cheryl.
Good morning.
What's your question or comment?
I have a 17-year-old daughter, and she has been friends with this 18-year-old boy for probably, I think, 5 years this year. And they started kind of dating, taking risks, I guess, a year ago, 4th of July. And she lasts about a week to 3 weeks, and she's back out of it again. And I'm trying to understand. He's great. The families both love one another. They just complement each other. Like, it is honestly, I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, she's only 17. But in that teen world, it is a perfect relationship. And she just can't commit. And I'm like, is it a commitment issue? Is she narcissistic? What is going on? Like, I can't.
I think we might start with she's 17.
Right. There's plenty of time for her to decide
and
those
that's
things
what that dating is about in the early years without commitment. Dating without commitment in the early years is figuring out, yes, what you want. And I got to tell you, you could put the perfect man in front of most 17-year-olds, and they're like, okay, what else is out there? Or the perfect woman in front of a 17-year-old, and it's like, okay, and what else is out there? And then you come back around to, okay, this is what I want, or not.
Yeah, I've got a 17-year-old daughter. I mean, and she has options, and one of them is the nunnery. I think she would be a great nun, but she's not going for that. But yeah, this girl's 17. She has plenty of time. Don't worry about it, Mom. Don't worry.
Don't pathologize her.
Right.
You know, it's
There's something wrong because she's not ready to commit at 17.
Yeah, and in fact, I think most parents would be excited if she's not committing at 17. All right, we have Katie on the line. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning.
What's your question or comment?
I've been dating this guy for a couple of weeks, about 2.5 weeks, and he said that I can call him anytime, whatever. And now this morning he's saying not to be so clingy. I'm kind of trying to figure out what he means exactly by that.
Just a couple of weeks. Okay, and so a lot of this also comes down to the interpretation that women have, or expectations women have and men have. Okay, so.
Listen, back off. Give this guy space. Give him outer space. Always play hard to get.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's funny, when my husband and I were dating, and by the way, Ben's the one that married me and my husband.
Yes.
So, but anyway, when we were dating, I remember my friend who's a therapist said to me, she goes, listen, act like a dog. I go, what do you mean? She goes, you know what dogs do when you run away from them? They chase you. What do dogs do when you chase them? They run away from you. So I was like, okay, nothing but the dog in you.
So, I mean, it's important for you to have your own interests, your own things going on, so that you're not always, it's not a game necessarily, but you have other things going on.
Sure.
So I don't have time to call you 24/7.
Yeah.
I'll call you when I can.
But you know, and she said, it's been going out 2 weeks. He said, call anytime. The fact that he had to say, hey, call me anytime. But then he snatches it back and says, oh, you're being too clingy. You know, I have to wonder, in just 2 weeks, did you call him 10 times a day?
Right.
Or is he one of those people who's sending you those mixed messages? We'll talk about that a little bit later on, kind of read between the lines of, right? All right. We'll be right back with a woman who is spreading the message of unity and love. That, plus we'll answer more of your questions after this.